Well, folks, welcome back to another edition of Rimshots with Sean, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. A little bit of a different setting. I normally have my Kiss dolls behind here, but that's fine. We're having fun with Ava. We're having fun with Brock from Frame 42. We want to talk about the single.
All right.
So right out of the gates, here we go. Segment 2. Tell us about this single.
So this single is called Thicker Than Blood. It'll be out March 15th. And it's kind of got a cool story behind it. I was driving by a restaurant with my friend, and the speed limit's probably like 15. So I was driving and had a good long look at this, what I assumed was a couple. And they kind of had an awkward hug, and then they both went in different directions. And I looked at my friend and I was like, they definitely just broke up right now. And I kind of started thinking, like, what if, like, maybe he still likes her and she's ready to move on? And I kind of came up with the story of the song from that quick interaction that I saw. So Thicker Than Blood is about how it might be harder for someone to stop loving someone and easier for someone else. And love can be more than just saying I love you.
I really like that because again, I love tunes with meanings. I work with some people who they're storytellers when they write songs, right? It isn't like, okay, we got to make line A rhyme with line B, and it doesn't matter what it is. I think stories are very important. So wouldn't it be interesting if at some point in time you guys are doing a show and one of those or both of those people show up and you go, hey, that song was about you guys? Wouldn't that be
That would be awesome. I don't remember what they look like though.
that's the right answer if they ever come for their kind of the royalties. Brock.
Yeah.
So we covered the grunge thing. What are you bringing in terms of influence? Well, I'll ask you this first. So you guys recorded with a heavy hitter. Toby Wright's not some guy that is brand new. He's been doing it for a while. What was that like, I guess, as a young performer to go into a studio with somebody of that or a producer of somebody of that level?
Well, we did a first EP with him back in the fall of 2020 called Undercroft, and that's on streaming platforms all over. And it was really intimidating going into it because it's like, we'd never done anything like that before. And it's like, Toby, he's a professional and he's worked with hundreds of bands and he's treating us the same way like the professionals do it. And it's like, we learned so much in the 2 weeks of recording that album, and then we're bringing it into this new one. And like, it's just really exciting to work with him, and he's sharing so much of his method and his thought process. And it's absolutely awesome. And he's a great guy to be around. I never get sick of him. Like, he's awesome.
So if you're like a sponge, and I mean, I guess in terms of the process too, because I've had the opportunity to be in the studio with people that have some, bandwidth behind them and have some experience. And some of them can be, do your part and get the heck out of here. I don't want to see it till it's done. Others can be stick around, learn. Where did he kind of fit in that whole realm of things?
He's definitely in the stick around and learn. Like, I got all my, Lucas is our drummer, which I know you're a drummer. You should listen to like some of his stuff. He is badass, dude. And so we tracked this album live. So we did, I think it was like 4 days of live tracking for 14 tracks. And then, so I don't really have to be there anymore. Neither does Lucas, but we're there because he's got so much to teach us and he's so willing to teach us. And it's like, I've learned so much in the past month or two just of his method, and it's awesome.
That's fantastic. And I find the rule of thumb for me is to be prepared because, as time is money, as they say. And if you go in there and you're not ready to go and those dollars start adding up, it becomes very unfun and uncreative very quickly because you start thinking on, oh my God, I got to pay for this as opposed to doing your thing. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want it to become a burden or have anything kind of dampen your creative space.
So back to the single, March 15th, this is out. You kind of teasing it around a little bit with different people. What's been the reaction when you send it out to teasers? What's been the feedback that you guys have been getting?
I hope pretty positive. I don't think we've heard anything negative so far, and it's like fresh off the presses. I don't even know if we've got much feedback yet, but our friends like it.
Uh, well, I'll give you a little feedback as a drummer. I really liked the drum part on that song. I thought it was very unique. I'm sitting. How old is your drummer, if you don't mind me asking?
He's 17.
17. So I probably couldn't play patterns like that properly until I was about 22. So good on him. And I don't even say that as a joke because I was just so uber focused on different things. But it's a really neat groove. It's not your typical rock kind of groove.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of funk influences that,
It does.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I guess I would ask you guys, being from, I wouldn't say from Motown, but Motownish kind of, symmetry. Would you guys be influenced by any of that sound?
Oh yeah, I think definitely being surrounded by it, your whole life, it's cool. We've got a lot of I know it doesn't really show in this song, but we've got a lot of good harmonies coming along, kind of like those groups like the Temptations, and I think, it's just kind of naturally embedded in us.
I always like to ask this question because it seems to be a hot topic lately. And just when you think it's going away, it comes up again. But that is using tracks in material live. So if you know Eddie Trunk goes
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
You get the people that are totally against it versus the people that, or whatever. Myself, I'm kind of in the middle. I wouldn't want to hear a lead vocal lip sync, but I think sometimes it serves a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on that? Do you guys use tracks live or?
No, and we were actually just talking about that earlier. I think in some cases it's okay. Like we saw Queen before, and Bohemian Rhapsody is a lot of tracks, but it's kind of hard to pull that off live, anyway. But I think if it's a cool track in the very background or whatever, if everyone's tracked and is air playing or whatever, that's when it's kind of disappointing for me to watch, because I could just sit at home and listen to the record.
Yeah.
Well, up here in Canada, especially in the 90s, if you were signed to a record deal, your label forced you to use tracks. Even if you could sing proficiently and perfectly, they wanted vocal tracks because they wanted people going to that show with having the same experience of listening to it. And what it did was it gave it a real sterile feeling. However, a lot of people like myself and whatnot learned to play with click tracks live and learn. So it did actually serve a purpose because, some people can't do that. It's a foreign thing to them. Do you foresee a time when you guys are going to have to do that, or are you just going to keep trying to dig in and do your thing live?
I think, we're probably going to stick with the live feeling the entire time and just playing everything live. We do use a click track, however, but I don't think, like some people, that's kind of in the weird gray area, but we do play to a click track.
So. I do too, and I think it's great because there's a consistency that and that's the one thing about tracks that I've always kind of said. There's a skill set to it that people don't realize.
Yeah.
Because if you speed up or slow down, the track doesn't speed up or slow down, right? So
right. Right.
So your plans for this single, again, coming out soon. You've been teasing it out there, but what are the plans for this first one?
Well, we've got again the release date March 15th, and then we've got a lyric video actually coming out soon after that. And then stay tuned for the date of our EP release.
It should be coming out in early spring sometime.
Early. So is it complete? You guys are just kind of waiting, you getting your strategy together?
Yeah, it's all ready to go.
In the can.
Well, that's a good feeling because I've worked with different artists who some of them are putting singles out, and they're doing that because they think nobody will want a complete album, and some people are just, hey, here we go, we're putting it out. So there's different strategies. You got to pick the one that works the best for you.
And we've talked about that discussion. Is it only singles? Because I know that's some people only singles, and we've kind of landed on 2 EPs. So we have 14 songs total, but we're kind of just gonna release them a little at a time. So this first one will probably have 7, and then the next one have 7, and kind of almost release them like that.
So if you're saying spring, are you guys gearing up to get out on the road then? Avoid the blahs of winter and get out there when the weather's nice?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did a tour in 2021 with Joyous Wolf. That was in the fall. It was like October, November, and like going up into the New England area, got a little chilly. So
Oh, bro, you got
as warm as we can
to.
keep it. We'll take that. Yeah.
If you get up to Canada, so where I'm living right now, we've had one snowstorm of any significance. We've had one weekend where the weather's been super cold. The global warming thing appears to be working out for where I'm living, because it's been a really, yeah. And I'm not saying I'm for global warming or anything, but as a singer, as a player, it's I think it's better to get out there when it's warmer, because it's tough in the wintertime, to
yeah. Well, even right now where we are, we got a whole ice storm today. So it's like schools are closed, everything's closed today and tomorrow. We were supposed to actually go back to the studio tomorrow. We kind of have to play it by ear though. But yeah, it's definitely easier to travel in the spring.
No question. So in terms of you're going to the studio, I'm assuming that's to get started on round 2 of what you guys are doing, so that you're fully prepared.
Yep, we're actually just wrapping it up right now, round 2 but yeah, everything's going pretty good though.
And you know what? Just if we can have a little fun just before we leave, it's about a week ago, a little over a week ago. You guys, did you watch the Super Bowl?
We did. Yeah.
All right. Who were you gunning for? Who was your team? Did you have a horse in the race there? Or?
I was rooting for well, now I forgot their name. I'm not the Eagles. I'm not good at this, but we were actually watching the halftime show. Have you seen the halftime show?
2 years in a row, I didn't watch, and I'll tell you, my thing has always been, if you get in front of anybody, it doesn't matter what I think. You have the you-know-whats to get in front of somebody, and whether I like it or not, it's irrelevant, right? Mm-hmm. So I didn't see it. I heard everything from it was amazing to, whatever. But what I saw, that looked pretty impressive in terms of, the set and what have you.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool because, Rihanna's like pregnant. So I thought it was cool how they worked around it. Like they had floating stages. They had and Brock actually spotted Nuno playing guitar for her in the background.
It was like we were the whole band was here, and so we were all watching it together, and we saw there's like a Marshall amp up there and like drum kits and stuff, and so it's like, oh, who's it gonna be? And then there's this like tracking pan shot where it's just like Nuno in the background. And like Michael and I, our lead guitar player, we're like, it's Nuno. Like it was.
I saw that. What was your first thought when you saw it? I'll tell you what mine was. But what was I did see that part.
I thought he would be the special guest and they'd kind of do something more. But I guess he tours with her and is like her session guitar player.
Well, the look on his face was like, okay, I get through this and I get that house paid off. He didn't look like he was.
Yeah.
You didn't really even hear his guitar that much.
Yeah, and you know what? I saw Nuno Betancourt a number of years ago with Extreme, and what a talent! And his drummer, Paul Jerry at the time, who's now a huge successful manager / agent. They were the real deal. So it was very cool to see him there. So, all that being said, I guess here's what I'll throw on you. We'll kind of circle back a little to what we said earlier. So there she is. She's a platinum, artist, and everybody's got an opinion. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got an opinion. To those people, you would say, and I'll go to you first, Dave, and then Brock. To those people, you would say what? As if they were judging you on what you were doing.
I probably wouldn't even say anything. I would just take it with a grain of salt. I know that I did the best that I could do. I'm happy and content with my performance. I know 50% of people agree with me and 50% don't, but maybe they could do it better. We'll see.
That's a good ratio. You're 50-50. I'm usually 90-10, and it's usually 90% don't agree and 10% do. But hey, I'll take 50-50. Brock, what about you?
Well, for like people critiquing, I guess it just goes back to the same thing about social media and the comments. Like, just yeah, like Ava said, take everything with a grain of salt, and who knows what those people are capable of. But as long as you're happy, like, hey, A+ in my book.
Absolutely. So just before we wrap here, my viewers can find out about you guys where? Where do they find you?
You can find us. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all under Frame 42 Band. And then we also have a website, frame42.com, and YouTube, Frame 42, and then all streaming platforms.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you know what, guys, and I apologize for the lateness. We don't have the traffic that most cities do, but today for some reason I get stuck in it. But thank you for your patience.
Yeah, no worries.
No problem.
I want to follow up again with you guys when the single comes out, see how it's doing.
For sure.
And thanks for doing this little old show, boy and girl, and I look forward to watching your success.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Peace, guys.
Peace.